Jeff, ready?
That is awesome.
Yep, let's hit it.
Nick, ready?
I don't know. Probably. I think.
Let's do it.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Fresh pick, ready for consumption. Here comes another round of the Radishcast.
Another Radishcast coming in for you. I'm your Fields Commissioner and just some guy, Mike Fisher. Along with me, just like every time, I'm my co-host Nick Spill Stoll, and Jeff, there's always next year, Gregory. Let's turn some rumors into facts. You know, I said this on take one. Jeff, sooner or later, I'll have something nice to say about you, I swear.
Hopefully, starting next week, we can change that around, get some positive vibes coming.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Nick, you all squared away this time? We're good to go?
We'll see. I mean, time will tell.
This is full disclosure. Jeff, what did you say? This is episode 18 all time?
Yep, I think so.
We've gone 17 clean episodes, no repeats, no reruns, one take, pure. Not today.
Pure. Come on, Spill.
At least it happened in the first 2 minutes of recording, and not halfway through. So
bad.
So if it happened halfway through, I would probably just clip them together. I'll have all of us change shirts or something. I don't know. But
Go
we're just
shirtless.
redoing it
Naked.
So I had a practice run through my intro. So
Second time was better, Mike.
Yeah,
I'm sure
you
it's
nailed
even
it.
better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, last week's money lines. We had the highest scoring tight end, and late in the game, Monday night, Mark Andrews just decided to take over. So Tony, en route to the highest scoring game in league history, gets the money this week.
Totally
next
called
week.
that too.
Did you?
Yep.
You
I
did?
did.
Oh,
I did.
nice. Hell yeah.
One of the only things I got right.
Hey,
Owned.
maybe I think Tony owes you $5 for the confidence boost.
Yeah, I'll send them just a quick Venmo request right now.
That's just smart business.
$4.99. You're welcome. That's all you say.
I think Jordan owes all of us, but no, the week 6 money line will predict this coming up. The least starting points. It's the first week of bye week, so that'll, I'm sure, play into it. But yeah, we'll be predicting who we think will have the least amount of starting points. You guys got anything else?
I think I'm sitting pretty good for that week 6 money line. We'll see.
Hey,
But
coming for you. I'm coming for you, Jeff.
This will be the week that it just blows up, and I
There's
get
definitely
one.
there's
Go
definitely a
ahead.
few teams I think that got some a good case for it. All right, let's hop into it.
This here's the Radish Recap.
All right, Radish recap coming in for you. I am left-handed and Coach Kyle Monroe taking on Cobra Kai and Coach Kyle Stankowski. The lefties were a 3-point favorite in this one. Monroe took the 138-97 victory. We all called it. That's where all of our faith was. Nick, why don't I throw it to you first? What do you think in this one?
I mean, looking at, I don't know how much Kyle could really have done, but you called it last week that Kyle would start the wrong quarterback, and of course he did. It's hard to tell with Tannehill. You got to think about game script in this. 13 points, but they put up 37. Henry 8. So I think going forward, when he's trying to play those matchups, he's just got to think about game script, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, Kyle being Kyle Murray only 13 points. He still doesn't really matter. Score 138. So
I did see Kyler Murray crop up on the injury report today after this game. So limited with a shoulder issue. I know he dealt with a shoulder a lot last year. So if that ends up being anything, Kyle could be in pretty big trouble. But Jeff, what else you see in this one?
Yeah, actually, that's a good point, Mike. You know, he'd be forced looking at his bench to roll with Fields if Murray is out. So something we'll have to monitor. But Nick, you mentioned it. Kyle being Kyle, his guys just had really solid games other than Murray, and there's only room for him to improve on that. And unfortunately, Stank went into this one and just didn't get much out of his wide receiver core outside of Devontae Adams, and even TJ Hawkinson just laid a dud. So there really wasn't much fight out of the Stankowski and his squad on this matchup here this week.
Yeah, I gotta look at. I know he asked us the Robbie Anderson or AJ Green start sit question. Well, he went with both. And one thing that's going to be interesting as it plays out. I know Cordell Patterson and the Falcons as a whole are on a bye this upcoming week, but he was on the field a lot more, saw a lot more looks with Calvin Ridley out. I'm sure that's not going to continue, right? It was a personal matter for Calvin Ridley, so. Not like something that I'm sure is going to be every week coming forward, or an injury that's going to linger. So
hopefully
not sure. He is obviously doing really well before that, but just one of those players that's going to continue to be interesting what he turns into and what he looks like. Nick Chubb in that Cleveland game, right? Everybody went off because there was just so many points to be had. Mm-hmm. So, 138 usually is a solid week. This week it doesn't look quite as good when you look at the rest of the league scores. Really interesting. Mm-hmm. I track the average scores every week. So far this year, the highest average was 117 points, but the rest of them were all 110, 109, right around that point. To this week, 125 and a half points was the average score.
Jesus.
So everybody just went off, had a great week this week.
How'd that make you feel, Jeff?
Yeah, everyone. He said that.
Everyone, as a whole, collectively did well.
Guys, I'm in that, right?
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, for sure, dude.
You definitely contributed to the average, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
The wrong way. You suck, dude.
All right.
Hey, what was the average? 117?
125.
Or 120. I think you were in the wrong as well. So
I know.
Not quite as bad, though.
All right, moving on to our next one. We got Benny and the Jets and Coach Ben Stills. We're taking on Jay's Juggernauts and Coach Jeff Gregory. The Jets were the 17-point favorite in this one, kept it within that 98-87. Ben takes the win. Nick was wrong in this one. Me and Jeff both had him keeping it close. So, Jeff, I'll toss it your way first. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, kind of just a frustrating matchup. Caught Ben on a good week where he scores less than 100 points and, feeling pretty good about that. Even going into that last slate of games, I needed, I think, 15 out of Latavius Murray. And, you start thinking maybe get a goal line touchdown right away and then some points there at the end, depending on how the game goes. But overall, just had a lot of things go wrong. Goddard dropping a wide open touchdown that he could have walked into. Damian Harris had for his second touchdown, got called back on an overturn. And even Trevor Lawrence was about an inch away from getting another rushing touchdown. So, you talk about those three touchdowns right there that get pulled, and even the Latavius Murray one that got basically taken away from him by Lamar Miller. This whole thing is just a different outcome, but that's why you got to play the game, I guess. So it just sucks. It's unfortunate, it's frustrating, but Ben walked away with the win. So gotta give it to him.
Yeah, Lamar, that Ravens offense as a whole, right? It just turned into Lamar trying to keep it every time they ran a running play near the goal line, and it never seemed like it was necessarily the right read. Latavius probably had two chances inside the 5 that you'd think they'd give him at least one rush, and they didn't. So that's got to be frustrating. And like you said, just some unfortunate luck. Ben having not a great week. Like we said, such a high scoring week, right? This 87 points was the lowest on the week. Usually you got games in the 60s and the 70s. So honestly, that's not a terrible week, right? It's not great, but it's not as bad as we see most weeks. So
right.
Yeah, really the only player on Ben's team to go off was Kareem Hunt at 23, but only player in this whole matchup. So without that, it's looking like a real ugly game. Nick, I'll toss it over to you. What do you got here?
Yeah, speaking of Kareem Hunt, is he was getting goal line carries the last 2 weeks. Is that just going to continue? I mean, I have in a different league, so I'm super pissed off about it. But
I checked the stats on this. So it seems like he's getting a bunch of goal line carries, but he actually has less goal line carries, less red zone carries than Nick Chubb. It just feels
season wide or
Yeah.
last 2 games. I want last 2 games though. Yeah, because season wide Chubb was at the beginning. Chubb at the beginning of the year, it seemed like he was getting goal line carries. That too. Hey, Robert Woods outscoring your boy Cooper Kupp this week. Looky there. Hell yeah.
Big man on campus, you mean? Bobby Trees.
Yeah, Bobby Trees. Yep. And then lastly, Diggs has been disappointing this year. You look at those stat lines. I don't know. It's just not even close to what he was doing last year. What? I think his high game's like 14 or something.
Yeah, it seems like
it's interesting with him too.
There. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, they are. And Diggs too, he had, I think, those 69 receiving yards before halftime, if I remember correctly. So I don't think he did anything in the second half, which is not common for him. So he'll bounce back though.
Yeah, that Buffalo offense as a whole just seems to be a lot more split up. Like I was saying, the running backs are finally getting a little bit more involved. You see Emmanuel Sanders having great games. Dawson Knox having great games, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like last year it was a hyper targeting of Diggs. He had 170 targets, something around there, like just an absurd pace. And so it just looks like that's not the case anymore. It looks like maybe we're going to get the Diggs from the year before in Minnesota where he has a couple blow up games, but other than that, he's just solid. He's not this superstar that he was last year. So curious how that bounce back happens.
Yeah, there is one more thing in here too, Mike. If you want to, I forgot to mention it when I was going through it.
Jeff's worst coach of the week.
Can't skip this portion of it. So
I wouldn't let you.
Yeah. Probably had your finger on the button waiting for it. No, unfortunately, there really isn't a team that did terrible this week. We mentioned the high scoring, you had Joe with 88 points. You had myself with 87.12. So, the big thing for this is I am the worst coach of the week, and mostly because it's the lowest scoring, and my opponent, had less than 100 points, and that's the time you got to capitalize and win those games. You look at that other matchup with Joe and Troy and Joe Harper and their team, the Dogs put up 123. So, even if Joe makes a couple switches in there, he still, I don't think, wins that game and matchup. And, for all those reasons, that's why I had to choose myself for the worst coach of the week, unfortunately. Hopefully it won't happen again, but this season's been rough, boys.
Moving on to our next matchup, we got Old Man Joe and Coach Joe Thomas taking on the SCLSU Mud Dogs and coaches Troy Hecht and Joe Harper. Old Man Joe, the 10-point favorite in this one. The Mud Dogs took it 123-88. I was the only one that had faith in the Dogs this week. It ended up being pretty much what I expected, aside from Myles Gaskin coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, what?
Great
Good
running back.
God.
It was all through the air, and really that's the only way running backs are going to beat Tampa Bay at this point. Only 25 rush yards, but still to see him be that involved in that offense was something we haven't seen yet. So that was, not something I expected. But the Kyle Pitts week, all three of us talked about it. We knew it was going to be a big week, and then after the show, Calvin Ridley got ruled out, and that just amplifies it, right? That just turned it into even bigger. So maybe it wouldn't be this big if Calvin Ridley was in the lineup. But gets it done. Emmanuel Sanders has been playing great. Joe Mixon salvaged a good day with that touchdown. Only played 28% of snaps or so. So tough call there, right? When he's active, you got to play him. But they really looked to P. Ryan quite a bit more than I would have expected. From Joe's side of the ball, Nick, I'll toss it to you. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, Moore with 6.7. I mean, that is an anomaly for him this season. He's been going off week in, week out. He's been what is he wide receiver? Top 5 this year right now? I don't remember off the top of my head. Oh no, he's 12. Okay, still. After
probably going into this week, he probably was.
Yeah, so you don't expect that. Madison continues to perform while Cook is out, so that's good for Joe, but it wasn't enough, obviously, here. Miles Sanders looks poopy.
He really
did better than Gainwell, though. Yeah,
I have no idea what you do there.
Yeah, that's a tough sell. And to Jeff, to your point, Gainwell's not much better, right? It's almost stay away from that entire Philadelphia backfield. And it looks like, and I mean, Joe had options this week, right? He could have played Michael Carter, who was in his flex up until he swapped it for Madison. I think he made the swap actually since Carter was playing in that early game. I think he made the swap in case Dalvin Cook was going to be out, so that he had the option to roll Madison. But maybe you start playing him over the Philly backs. Obviously, you got Javonte Williams has been fine, nothing spectacular, but maybe he starts to see the lineup in that running back spot. Who really knows? Jeff, toss it to you last. What else you see in this one?
Yeah, the big things that I liked about going into this matchup was Joe's wide receivers with A.J. Brown and Chenault, and you touched on DJ Moore, and all three of those guys just didn't have good weeks. So, it's not the norm for Joe and his team. I think the strong point is his wide receiver group. And for those guys not to perform, that's why you see a performance like this where you get 88 points and you lose by, 30 some points there. So just a bad week, unfortunately, and move on from it. That's about all I have.
All right, moving on to our next matchup, we got the Aaron Rodgers football team and Coach Tony Fisher taking on Grizzly Adams and Coach Alex Cooley. The football team came into this one as a 1-point favorite, pretty much toss-up. We all thought Cooley was going to get it done here.
We were not right.
I don't usually put decimal places in my final scores here. I usually round them, but this time I am because the highest score in league history, 195.8 to 123 victory.
God.
Yeah, like I said, it's in the record books now. Almost got to the 200 ball here. It was just all around, right? His whole team just went off. Alex Collins and Jalen Waddle, the two lone players, not hitting double digits here. On Cooley's side of the ball, it sucks to have Saquon Barkley get hurt right away. Lamar Jackson went off like he always does. Travis Kelce, solid day. Solid days from everybody. 123 points is nothing to scoff at. Any other week, it's above the average. Not this week, though, and didn't quite get it done. So, Jeff, what do you see in this one?
Yeah, that's, to that point, 123 points. You win probably 70% of your matchups, and unfortunately you just ran into Tony's team that just put a record performance up, and it was just impressive. You look at just highlighting his quarterbacks, Herbert on his bench with 42, almost 43 points, and then Josh Allen with 36.5. Like, those are just monster performances. And after that Thursday night game with that Alex Collins start, it's not terrible. It looks like a good play, but he gets 8.2 points, and that's his second lowest point outing. So, he probably wasn't feeling too great after that, but his team just, man, that Mark Andrews and Antonio Brown play and Austin Eckler has just been an animal. So, it was impressive. Good week for him for sure.
What an idiot starting a quarterback that only scored 36.5 points.
Tommy, come on, Tony.
Yeah, he's got to clean that up and do better next week.
Got 200.
Nick, what do you got in this one?
Literally nothing. I mean, Tony just went off. Jeff hit it. Cooley could do absolutely nothing to stop that. I mean, 195. Come on now.
Yeah,
it was impressive. It's got to feel good setting that record, but you gotta wish you were over 200, huh, Tony? That would have been nice. Nice round number.
It's disappointing. Too bad Andrews couldn't catch a third one on that last play to win in overtime.
Yeah, come on.
What a dud.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, moving on to our next game. We got the Archduke Fish and Coach Mike Fisher taking on Ball His Life and Coach John Lamers. The Dukes came into this one as a 19-point favorite. I accidentally picked myself to win, and it paid off like always, 187 to 151.
Just how you planned it.
Just like I drew it up. It kind of sucks, right? I would have had the highest score in league history if it wasn't for Tony up there just outshining me. The record books will never show my name, not even for a week. But
sad.
Fish 2 turning into Fish 1 right before our eyes.
What?
Oh,
no.
Touch on that soon.
Ouch.
Nick, what do you got in this one?
This is a high-scoring affair here. I mean, I picked I picked John to cover that 19 and a half or 19 points there, and you got it done. I mean, hit that drop for me though, baby. Oh, I sprung it on him.
Yeah, I don't actually remember which one it is. Oh, yeah, that's why I don't remember. So, because we're switching it up this week.
Nick's Garbage Time All-Star.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage.
Yeah, so we're switching around this week. We got the Garbage Time All-Star looking back, seeing who scored a Garbage Time touchdown. I mean, for this one, it's a little different. It wasn't NFL Garbage Time, but it was this game, fantasy game Garbage Time.
Where it matters.
Where it really matters. I mean, who gives a shit about the actual games? We're talking about fantasy here. So we got Hollywood Brown as my Garbage Time All-Star, scoring that last touchdown to allow Mike to cover that line and make me incorrect. You son of a bitch. And Jeff, too, right?
Yep. Yeah, I was right there with you.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's not many players I shopped harder than Hollywood Brown in the offseason. And boy, am I glad no one took me up.
Yeah, right?
Oh, he's been phenomenal. It's funny. Most everyone that I tried to trade with, it was like I would offer Hollywood Brown. They'd be like, no, we want Henry Ruggs. And I'd be like, God, I really want to give you Hollywood Brown. And boy, am I dumb.
Yeah. Worked out well for you.
But no, this was an insane game to be a part of because 151 points on the other side of the ball. Like,
right.
We talked about you win most games at 120, 130. This is just insane.
It's got 90.
So yeah, no, it was obviously the early games happened. Robert Woods did well, and so did Darrell Henderson, Matt Stafford, DK Metcalf on the other side of the ball. It was like, okay, 3 guys are going off. I'd always rather have actual points than projected points, and so it's always scary when your opponent's got 3 guys that have already gone off before the weekend games even come. It was a back and forth all day. He had 70-yard touchdowns from Jamar Chase and from Mike Williams. Then Mike Williams got left alone by himself a second time for a 42-yard touchdown. I'm just like punching the couch watching this. Like, this is insane. And then, going into Monday night, needing 24 points from Jonathan Taylor and Marquise Brown, and JT takes his first drive, his drops a ball. He drops the ball right in his hands, and I'm like, he's going to get benched. He's not going to get any targets. Whatever. Takes the very next one, 76 yards to the house, a little screen dump-off pass, and it's like that. It was just an insane game.
Rock hard.
But, Nick, what else you got in this one?
Nothing much. I mean, once again, these two... 187. Good God. I mean, Tom Brady, we had so much good quarterback play this week, and he's kind of got outshined. But shoot, what? He had 5 passing touchdowns. It's just another day in the office.
Yeah.
Taylor, you love that out of Taylor. It's really going off for the first time this year, right? Like really going off. He scored 20.
Yeah,
that's got to feel nice. Bob Trees is going off for you now. I think is it the turn of tides? We'll see.
Yeah, no, it was really nice to see out of everybody. It'd be really nice if Zach Ertz could do a little bit more with 6 targets than 1 catch for 7 yards, but you know what? I'll take it given the result. I could have had I could have taken Tony.
It's 187. He's like,
he could have done.
Ertz, what are you doing, Ertz?
I could have so I hate kickers. I absolutely hate kickers. I could have taken Tony's score there. Could have beat him had I played Greg Zerloin, but I was still so mad at Zerloin from 2 weeks ago that I was just perma-benching him. So now maybe I'll start to look back his way. Who knows? But all right, moving on to our next matchup, we got Lick McCaff and Medak at 2 and Coach Jordan Chartier taking on the Tate Ticklers and Coach Nick Stoll. McCaff came into this one as the 2-point favorite. I had some faith. I thought McCaffrey might play. That did not happen. Tate takes the 113-105 victory on Monday night. Same game. Having your boy Pittman go off and get you the win. Jeff, what do you got in this one?
Yeah, Nick, that's got to feel good. I know you weren't feeling too confident with that going into that last game. It was kind of 50-50 up in the air, and then Pittman got it done pretty early for you, and I know we had some text messages back and forth with the group, and rock hard once that happened, that touchdown.
Yeah.
So
Rock hard, baby.
but you got to like what you saw to your two running backs. You got enough to get it done. I don't think you're too happy with this performance with Galladay scoring 0. Keenan and Godwin had okay days, nothing crazy by their names, and then Russell Wilson getting hurt. That's got to be a scary sign and sight there. But yeah, it's good to walk away with the win on this one. So you did enough. So
does Keenan Allen have the same upside that we thought he did that he had last year? He's had games of 13 targets, 12 targets, 11 targets, 9, 8. His lowest game this year is 8 targets, right? He's getting the same volume he was getting last year, but just
no touchdowns.
No touchdowns, just not been getting done. You got to think that's got to break his way sometime, but at the same time, Mike Williams is on the other side getting touchdowns nonstop. So it's not like the offense isn't scoring.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before a few of those start going to Allen and away from Mike Williams, but you never know. I mean, Herbert's just throwing that ball like crazy all over the place, and it's pretty impressive what those Chargers are doing. So,
Nick, what else you see in this one?
Yeah, with Keenan Allen, I have to think. I mean, you look at Mike Williams' touchdowns. I think he scored 6 so far. Like that's not sustainable. It has to come Keenan Allen's way eventually here. I mean, he's getting the targets. Obviously, Mike Williams is that huge red zone target, so he's going to continue with those. But he's been getting those bombs lately. Galladay, of course, throw him in the lineup again, and he gets hurt. You son of a bitch. I was pretty pissed off about that, but what are you going to do? And then Godwin, all those touchdowns being scored, couldn't even get one of them? It's fucked up. That's greedy. That's greedy by Mike and Tony?
Mike
stealing them all.
Wanted as many as he could get. Antonio Brown wanted as many as he can get. It'll be interesting once Gronk gets back how those start to redistribute too, but not this week it sounds like. But no, yeah, it was enough to get it done for you. 113 is usually an above average week. Couple outlier performances plugged that up a little bit, but overall still solid. So coming out of all those matchups, we got our standings, all of us below 500 unfortunately, but Nick and I at 14 and 16 tied up at the top. I picked up 2 games on you this time, Nick, but Jeff lowly one single game behind us at 13 and 17. Been steady Eddie 2 weeks in a row at just 3 and 3, just doing enough, just hanging on,
chugging along.
Yep, just waiting for him to break my way here.
All right. Well, with all that, let's hop into next week's.
Dive on into the Husky League matchups.
All right, Husky League matchups. We got I Am Left-Handed at 4 and 1, taking on the Taint Ticklers at 2 and 3. The lefties are a 16-point favorite in this one. Jeff, I'm gonna toss it your way first. What are you seeing?
Oh man, I really want to pick. No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with Nick, even without Russell Wilson as his quarterback down there, and Kamara out too. So
yeah, thank you.
So
bold.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I got faith in that wide receiver group. I think Keenan Allen bounces back. I think Allen Robinson, it's only a matter of time too, Nick, before he has just a huge game. And I don't like that it might be against the Packers, but it could be, So they just don't throw the ball enough in that Bears offense where you really are too happy about it. So it's kind of a shot in the dark, but you never know. So 16 points is a lot. All you need is a little bit of luck on your side. But I'm gonna roll with you this week, Nick.
Thanks, Jeff.
Give you some confidence.
I'm not. I'm gonna go with Monroe in this one.
I'm not.
Nick, your lineup looks gross.
Oh,
ouch!
But It's not even close to my pick for the lowest scoring points of the week. Now, Ben Roethlisberger, he looked a little bit better last week, but I just don't really have much faith in him. Having to start David Johnson at running back is not a great recipe.
It's not fun.
Not happy about it.
I'm not choosing to do it.
Yeah.
Your receivers are fine. They're still solid, but when you compare them to Monroe's, you're not picking anything up there. So, I'm gonna have to go with Monroe in this one. I don't think you can keep pace here, Nick. What about you?
I'm gonna go with Monroe too.
Wow.
My lineup's pretty fucking gross. I have no faith in Roethlisberger, even though they're going against that shitty Seattle team. Allen Robinson, no.
You don't think so?
I don't know about this week. We'll see. Pittman was nice they're going against Houston too, but David Johnson as my RB2. Oh, that's so gross. Oh my gosh.
Pretty gross.
Hit that drop though.
Nick's bum of the week.
Spare any change, sir? No, off!
So we flipped it around like we said earlier. Now I'm picking the bum of the week, and my bum of the week is going to be Gibby. I think Kansas City's going to come out freaking hot. I think Gibby's going to be game scripted out of this game, and RB1 J.D. McKissick's going to take over. I don't know how we want to address for points for this. Like, how are we going to determine if he's a bum of the week if I pick someone that's super shitty always? Like,
less than half their projection.
Yeah, I like that. That'll work. That worked well. And it's decided.
It's almost like we had a plan, but we didn't.
Yeah, remember we talked about that before the show and came up with that?
Queued it up.
Like we
softballed
always
it for
talk
you,
about
Mike.
everything and plan all this stuff.
Yeah, just
of
like
course.
that.
There you go,
I think it was in take one.
Damn it, Spill. That's all I got. I suck.
No. Yeah, all right. Moving on to our next matchup, we got Benny and the Jets at 3-2 taking on Grizzly Adams at 3-2. The Jets are an 8-point favorite in this one. I'm going to take them to cover here. This is a rough week if you're the Alex Cooley's of the world. He's making trades just to be able to actually play a running back. So he's got a rough week of buys and injuries. When you look at Deebo Samuel on bye this week, it looks like Barkley's going to miss this week. Marquez Callaway and Corey Davis both on bye. Mike Davis on bye. He's got a tough week this week. I know that there's other weeks where it's going to hit other guys hard, but Benny, I think, is the actual biggest beneficiary of bye weeks this week or this year. And the first one's coming right here. I think Cooley's team's a little too beat up. I'm gonna take Benny to cover in this one. Nick, I'll toss it your way next. What do you got?
Right on board with you. I got Benny covering this. You look at Alex's lineup, and it looks kind of gross as well. Comparable to mine, just with those buys and injuries. I think Cooper Kupp actually comes back and outscores Bob Woods this week too. Diggs, it's a juicy matchup, but are they just going to get up so big so early? He just has to get that share early, I feel like.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, that Tennessee defense is pretty gross.
Oh, god awful. I suspect with Lockett, with my boy Gino in there, but
He'll be fine.
we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. Did I mention that I have Cooley as the lowest scoring team?
You did just now.
I did not.
I didn't mention that I have me as the lowest scoring team.
Oh,
So
Nick's picking himself. True. Yeah, I got Cooley. I think
almost
the bye
wanted-
weeks are going to hurt him.
I almost want to change my pick over to Monroe now, but I'm going to stick with you, Nick. Can't.
thanks, dude. Just because I have no faith in myself.
Yeah, you really swayed me.
Jeff, who you got in this one?
I'm going to go with Ben as well. We touched on Cooley's lineup, but the other thing too is Ben doesn't even have Dalvin Cook in this, and he's a 64% favorite. So, if he plays and he's healthy enough to play, that's just a huge extra bonus and boost on that. So the fact that the line's 8 points right now and Cook's not in there, I think Ben wins this pretty easily.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Cobra Kai at 3-2 taking on the SCLSU Mud Dogs at 3-2. Kai is a 6-point favorite as of now. Nick, I'll head this your way first. What do you got?
I got him covering. I don't know. Devontae, of course, is going to go off like he always does. Hurts has been playing great. We'll see about Robinson against Miami. I don't really remember how good. It seems like 31st again. Oh, God. Yeah, so Miami's 31st against the run with James Robinson going there too. Thielen against Carolina, though, we'll see about that. Carolina's defense, pretty stout. I just like the look of his team a lot more. We got Pitts not playing this week, right? So mixed and banged up. You think that would be a good game against Detroit, but yeah, Madison went off last week, so I still think Cobra Kai takes it. Okay. That's 6 points.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kai too. I think he's got enough guys to get it done here. Some interesting starts that I think are gonna sway through the course of the week here, but usually the Mud Dogs' advantage is Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, and it's having a solid tight end game, and I think Dalton Schultz is a good enough fill in for Pitts. But all that really means is he's now starting Pat Freiermuth in his flex, which is not a great start. He's in the situation where he's been having to start 2 tight ends. So yeah, I'm going to stick with Kai as well. I'm right there with you, Nick. Jeff, how about you?
Yep. I'm going to go with Kai as well. So clean sweep there. I do like Hurts this week against the Bucs. They got a pretty good defense, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It has to be. The Bucs put up so many points that you just open it up and sling it around, and I think that goes well for Hurts this week. So I'm gonna roll with the Cobra Kai, get this done. I like his. He finally swapped in Knox in his tight end spot with how good he's been doing. It could pay off good for him. So
let's talk about that a little more. We actually got the start sit question from Kyle this week. Does he go with Hawkinson or does he go with Dawson Knox here? Jeff, you're pretty confident in Knox being the right play?
Yeah, I forgot about that start sit question, but let's see, Detroit versus Cincy. I like Knox in there. Why not ride the hot hand? It's a Monday night game. Probably going to be a pretty high scoring. The Buffalo Bills have just been slinging it around like crazy, and even TJ Hawkinson, he's kind of the number one option in that Detroit Lions passing game outside of their running backs. And I just think that they're, doubling them and a lot of attention towards TJ Hawkinson, which is kind of part of his slower start this year. So I like to play. I'd roll with Knox.
Nick, how about you?
Echo what Jeff said, that exact same thing. Ride the hot hand. Hawkinson has been just gross the last 3 weeks. Not even getting target shares, really. Last week, Knox, I think it salvaged it basically because of that huge, long touchdown, right? Before that, I don't think he really had any points, but still, you got to ride that hot hand.
Yeah, and I know you guys listen to the Fantasy Footballers podcast at least a little bit. Obviously we had Matthew Betts from the Fantasy Footballers on. I'll use one of their phrases. It's NBA Jam rules. 3 games in a row, he's on fire. You can't stop him.
Jam rules.
So 3 games in a row, he's on fire, and on the other end of the spectrum, 3 games in a row for Hawkinson being butt. I'm gonna go ahead and stick with Knox there.
Yep.
Moving on to our next matchup, we got the Aaron Rodgers football team at 3-2 taking on the Archduke Fish at 2-3. I have the Dukes in here at the 3-point favorite. I just looked and it's got Tony back as the favorite because he swapped his Seattle running backs. Why don't we just call this one straight up? Let's just call this one straight up with who wins. And on that line being a dead even, why don't I give it?
Hot diggity dog! It's the game of the week.
So, as voted on by you two, this is our game of the week this week. Jeff, I'm going to toss it your way first. What are you seeing?
Yeah, this is definitely the game of the week. There's huge playoff implications here. You think about both of these teams really, really need a win. Aaron Rodgers' football team going to 3-3, although it's not terrible. you much rather have that 4-2 and kind of try to keep up with Monroe and the lefties in
They're
the division.
4-1. I have this wrong in the doc. The football team is 4-1.
Oh, are they?
Yep. So I'm sorry. That's
Okay.
That's my bad.
4-2.
4-2. So
if he loses,
either way, Mike, you need this win bad. You need to get to 3-3 and kind of stay in that playoff contention.
Tony needs to keep pace with his division mate in Kyle, the only other 4-1 team in the league, right? If he wants any chance at that first round bye. Last year we saw the same thing. Those two went into the last week tied up. Winner take the first round bye, loser drops out of it. Kyle gets the first round bye and ends up riding it to the championship game. Tony has to play it out and can't quite make it there. So,
and I think Mike, you look at your matchups. Henry and Taylor, those are, I like those. Obviously, you like those guys every week in and week out, but even kind of a smaller play is at Zach Ertz. I think Goddard's out this week with a positive COVID test, so he's going to be the number one tight end, no question. And then what you saw out of Robert Woods last week, you gotta love that going against kind of a crappy Giants team. So there's enough here for me to pick you and have you win this one. So that's where I'm rolling.
Nick, I'm gonna toss this one to you second. I'll save myself for the end. What are you seeing here?
Oh God, I don't even know. It's so close. I still haven't really decided. Initially, we had that line at -3. I mean, I was going to take Tony. Looking at it, I think Derrick Henry, I'm worried he might be game scripted out, but it feels like he never actually is because now he's catching passes. I got to go with Mike. I got to do it. I flip-flopped. I'm going with Mike here. Even though I think Cooper Kupp is going to take that reins back, I think there's enough there with the Giants. Is Danny Dimes coming back this next week? I'm assuming.
It sounds like he's practicing, but
just a concussion.
In line to start practicing once he's through the.
Get him back out there.
Yeah, he's just concussed. So
rub some dirt on it.
Pussy. Yeah. I'm picking you, Mike.
I don't love my matchups. I know you guys were liking them. You talked about Derrick Henry. He kind of got game scripted out in week 1, but still had 10 points. That was his worst week of the year, right? If he ends up with 10 points, it's not going to bury me. So obviously I want more from him, but probably my biggest concern is Hollywood going against the Chargers. They're number 1 in adjusted points allowed to receivers this year. That's just a tough matchup for me. I gotta hope that because the Chargers are going to put up so much, maybe we'll see something similar to Monday night where it's like, we're playing catch up and we pepper those guys with targets. It really does seem like the Ravens are throwing a lot more this year, and I have to imagine that's because of the amount of running back injuries they have. Obviously they have Latavius Murray and Tyson Williams and Devonta Freeman in there, but I don't think they trust those guys enough to give them the workloads that they would give to guys like J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. So I'm very happy, not happy, but I am, that Zach Ertz is kind of going to be alone in that tight end room. Goddard going to miss this game against Tampa Bay, who you really can't run on. So hoping for a high target volume there. So I'm going to take myself. I got to at this point, but I can't say I'm feeling great about it. So couple other things before we end up here, Jeff. I'm gonna give you this real quick.
Jeff's keep on cooking.
Who wants some man meat? I do. I want some man meat.
Even though we got a clean sweep of all picking Mike, I think there's a player on Tony's side that just had a monster performance and has, the last couple of weeks. So Austin Eckler this week, I think is going to be just keep on cooking. He's got a juicy matchup against the Ravens where we touched on there's probably going to be a high scoring game, and that guy just finds the end zone and just gets it done week in and week out. So that's who I'm rolling with this week for Jeff's just keep on cooking.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to jump into is a couple start-sit questions. So one of them from my end, honestly. T. Higgins played last week. Didn't look, wasn't fully back integrated. It looked like maybe on a little bit of a snap count with the coming off the injury, but now he should be fully healthy. Going up against Detroit, and so it's going to be him or it's going to be Jacoby Myers, who's just been incredibly solid. Playing against Dallas, should have to throw quite a bit to keep up with Dallas in that game. He's been getting a lot of targets, no touchdowns. So for my flex spot, that's really kind of a toss-up for me right now.
True. Sorry. I thought we were waiting for you to hand off. You always hand us off. So
yeah,
you always tee us up.
I'll go first, Jack.
Nick, why don't you take this one?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I don't know. That's pretty tough. I mean, Myers, you have that target share, is never really a high ceiling kind of play. Higgins coming off the injury, both decent matchups. I feel like I'm rolling with Higgins here. You know what you're going to get. I think you really know what you're going to get with both of them because that target share for Myers. But I just feel more confident with Higgins. Detroit's crappy defense. I know the Vikings didn't score as much as we thought against Detroit, but I have a feeling both will be solid plays. I don't think they're going to win or lose you the game, to be honest, Mike.
Jeff, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Higgins as well. Anyone that's played against Detroit looks like a juicy matchup, and I'm gonna roll with that kind of thought process and philosophy. So the other thing too is, I don't know if Myers would draw the matchup with Diggs, or full time on that Dallas secondary, but if it does, or even if it's 50, I just don't like that matchup, and I think you'll see a young Mac Jones go the other way, away from Myers, if that is the guy that's lining up across from him. So with that, those Lions secondary is banged up. They're bad. They're probably the worst group in the entire league. So you got to like your matchup with Higgins, and whoever is their number one out there is going to be on Chase. And so I don't think you overthink it too much, Mike. I think you roll with your young stud and stick with Higgins.
Sounds good. And then on the other side of the ball, Tony actually sent in a pair. I'm going to give them both to us right away and let you talk through who you'd play in each spot here. From the wide receiver position, he's wondering on Jalen Waddle versus Devontae Parker. Same team, same, both receivers there. And then the other one is his two quarterbacks, right? He looked stupid last week for not starting Justin Herbert. What an idiot.
Looks stupid.
Yeah, what's his deal?
So you got Herbert going up against Baltimore, who's been exposed, all season as not the defense that they once were. Mm-hmm. And then Josh Allen going against Tennessee, who is a terrible defense. Mm-hmm. So throwing both of those out there, I'll start us off, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna stick with Josh Allen. You know that he's always got the rushing component to his game a little more so than Herbert does. I just think that no matter what happens in that game, Josh Allen's involved in it. So I'm gonna go with Josh Allen. I don't really see a reason to make the swap right now, despite the fact that Herbert has been nuclear right now. It increases your upside too, because if Austin Eckler runs in a touchdown or something like that, you're not halving your amount of points there. So and then on the other end, I'm playing Jalen Waddle. Devontae Parker's been banged up. I'm just gonna stick with the healthy guy in that situation. So Jeff, I'll toss you next. What do you got?
You couldn't have said it better, Mike. I like Allen's rushing upside there, so I'm rolling with him. And then Waddle, I just think Waddle is a better player than Devontae Parker is. So I like how explosive he is and how they're trying to get him involved. So the Jaguars defense is nothing to write home about. They're not that good. So I think, there's some opportunity for Waddle to get in the end zone and exploit that matchup. So those are the two guys that I would roll with, and that's who you have right now. Like I said to you, Mike, I don't think you overthink it. You roll with your big guns and call it good.
Yep. Nick, anything to
add? Just Josh Allen. I would do that same thing. Just your upside potential with Josh Allen versus Herbert when you start Eckler. That was my main point. I think you're going to need points in this game. It's going to be super close. Plus, Josh Allen is a stud. You really can't go wrong either way.
No.
Yeah. And then for Waddle versus Parker, I tend to lead towards Parker, but since that injury, I don't know. Target share is brutal with Waddle. 4 targets last week, 6 the previous one. And you look at it's a toss up. Just because he's injured, Parker's injured, I'm going to go with Waddle as well.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really realize how nice Devontae Parker's target share has been. Not 7-9, 7-9, and then didn't play. But
it's tough.
I'd
pay attention I'd pay attention just to the injury reports. Is he practicing now? He didn't practice today.
I don't think he practiced today, but
tomorrow will tell, I suppose.
Yep. All right. Moving on to our next matchup, we got Jay's Juggernauts at 0-5 taking on Ball is Life at 1-4. Ball is Life comes into this one as the 16-point favorite, and just like our last game was a game of the week, this one,
the Toilet Report,
is a rematch of the Toilet Bowl from last year.
Oh my God!
A little surprise there.
Somewhat fittingly so is the two teams with the worst record in the league right now. So, Jeff, I'm gonna give it to you first because you're in it. What do you got in this one?
Yeah, 16 points with a 1-4 team is a little embarrassing and kind of from my side of it. But I'm gonna roll with. I know John's team is good. I'm surprised he's 1-4 to be honest with you. Looking at that record, so I've been rolling with myself every week. So I'm gonna do it again this week. You know, I just think that 16 points is a lot. I look at my side. You know, Cooper, I'm hoping, is finally going to get healthy and not have that worry of pull a hamstring in the first drive and sit out and put a goose egg up. You know, McLaurin, I think in that Chiefs game, I think they're going to have to match him and they're going to have to air it out. So I think the Chiefs get right, and I think McLaurin has a touchdown or hopefully 2. You know, what I don't like is Goddard being out. Hopefully Ingram can capitalize on that. We'll see how it goes. And, you know, the biggest thing that I've had every week is my running back play has been pretty bad. So I just got to get a good week where they both hit on the right time. And hopefully it's week 6 for that. There's a lot of hopes in that analysis, but that's where I'm leaning.
Oh shit. I'm going to roll with John on this one. You know, we've seen since the Mike Williams trade. Dude. We've seen since the Mike Williams trade, John put up 152 of the 3 weeks. You know, he's sitting at 1-4, but what does that record look like if that was his team the whole year, right? So, so his team's just been hitting lately. Obviously, again, 1-4, but that loss last week had no business being a loss. So, yeah, I'm rolling with John. I like a lot of those players. I have too many questions on your side with Darnell Mooney, with Latavius Murray. I think that game script could be suspect for him again. So it's John for me. Nick, how about you?
Same. I mean, those matchups, game script looking even Damian Harris too. I like John's matchups here. You got Darrell Henderson against the Giants. You got Harris against Seattle. I think it's going to be pretty bad, Jeff. I think he's going to go off again this week. I mean, you do have Metcalf with my boy Geno. Is he going to cook? Are they going to let Geno cook? They did in that last game, pissing me off.
Hopefully not.
They had to
when they were down 2 scores.
They can't.
They didn't run the ball.
Yep, I'm taking John. Sorry, Jeff.
No, I don't blame you guys. I mean, John's team. I am like I said earlier. I'm surprised that he's 1-4. I mean,
yeah, it seems.
You look at his team and you're just like, wow, there's some young guys, some talented people. Even that Seals Jones and sliding his tight end spot last week, he looked just like Logan Thomas. You know, all those targets in the end zone and just. I don't know why they go to him so often, but they do. But I don't know. I'm going to take myself as the money line prediction as well. I know you guys got Cooley and yourself, but I just think
lowest points, but also
lowest points but covers.
Yeah,
he says, John, you're gonna suck.
He's
just hedging. He's hedging.
I like John's team. I think I'm gonna be the lowest. I'm gonna cover.
Yeah.
He's hedging.
Who's to say it can't be a 90 to 91 matchup? You know?
I say that it's not going to be that.
You never know.
All
Like
right.
I said earlier, you got to play the game.
Moving on to our last one. We got Lick McCaff and Medak at 2-3, taking on Old Man Joe at 3-2. Lick McCaff is a 2-point favorite in this one. Nick, your turn to start us off here. What do you see here?
I think I'm going to take Jordo here. Is McCaffrey actually coming back? Last week we were seeing reports he was going to. I haven't really been paying attention to see if he is this week.
The report today is that he will be a game time decision.
Oh, that is awkward. Oh, that changes things. Who is he going to throw in there for a replacement?
Brandon
Probably Cooks. Almost
Fuck,
have to
like
be
dead
Cooks.
air time.
I'm still taking. I'm still taking Jordo here. Fuck it. Fournette's actually been looking pretty decent, to be honest with you. He was subbing him in for McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I think DJ Moore has a great game against Minnesota's shitty defense. I think Julio's out next week, or he's questionable this week. He didn't practice today, right?
He
Yeah,
did.
so
He's
if that
back
had-
at practice for the first
I
time
think
today.
Oh, I thought he wasn't. Oh, well, that in my favor for Jordo then, because I was going to say AJ Brown without Julio. I like that, but all right, Jordo, don't make me look stupid, buddy.
I think I'm gonna take Joe here. I think his team's got enough going on. I think Damian Williams and Javonte are both fine plays. I think you touched on AJ Brown. They're going to be in a negative game script more than likely there. I think that he's got no choice. He's got to do something, right? I think he's got enough. Obviously, if McCaffrey plays and puts up a 30 ball, it could make me look like an idiot here. But I'm going to take Joe. I think he'll do enough to probably cover, and I think win this one. So, Jeff, how about you?
Madison?
Yeah, the big question mark is Jordan's team is if McCaffrey plays, right? If McCaffrey plays, you're looking at Jordan's team and you like it a lot more, obviously. But I like what I see out of Sutton last week. Claypool had a pretty good game. It looks like he's injured. I don't know what that is, if he's going to play or not, but I'm going to roll with Jordan here. Fournette has looked solid as that number one running back on that Bucs team. It's not that I dislike Joe's team at all, because I still really, really like his wide receivers. But I just think I think McCaffrey's going to play, and for that, I think Jordan's team's going to get a huge bump. So that's where I'm rolling.
Yeah, and so Jordan threw in a start-sit question in here. Two guys that disappointed last week. So we got Brandon Cooks and Marvin Jones, both of whom we thought, Brandon Cooks has been really solid for, the first 3 games of the year, a couple of less great weeks. And then it really seemed like Marvin Jones was going to take another step forward with DJ Chark out and get more involved, but it's been the opposite. It's been less involved the last 2 weeks. So he's wondering between those two. Nick, I'll start with you here. What are you thinking?
Good God, I'm not sure here. Marvin Jones, they both had crappy weeks the last 2. What's points against? Miami gives up a bunch. I think I'm going to roll with Cooks here. I don't really have an analysis associated with it. I think both of them are going to be kind of lower scoring games, Houston, Indy, and then Jacksonville, Miami. I think it's 47 for both of them is what the line is. I don't like either of them, if we're being frank. I don't like either matchup, but I'm going to go
But I'm not
Cooks.
Frank. I'm Mike.
Hey, Mike.
That joke.
Nice to meet you.
Jeff, how about you?
I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go Marvin Jones. I think Trevor Lawrence is developing every week, getting better and better. I think that Miami game could be surprising, where there's quite a few points that get put up. And I think with DJ Chark out, it's only a matter of time before Marvin Jones has that big explosive game. And why not week 6, So I think I'd roll with Marvin Jones and keep him in there.
Yeah, and I'll I guess be the tiebreaker here. It's Cooks for me, and mostly because you saw he had a bad game this past week, but Davis Mills had a great game.
That's
something
true.
you weren't expecting to see. The rest of that offense went off. I can't say that I'm concerned that Chris Moore, Chad Moore, I don't even know his name. I can't say I'm concerned that he's going to suddenly turn out and be the Seymour. Seymour Butts. I can't imagine that he's gonna come in and now be the number one receiver, right? That doesn't seem logical to me. So the fact that offense was able to be efficient and productive last week, I think, can only mean positive things for Brandon Cooks, even though he wasn't a part of it. So I'm probably going back to that. At this point, seeing Marvin kind of struggle, maybe it's a connection with Lawrence. To your point, Jeff, once I see Trevor Lawrence take that step and really involve him, then I'm probably feeling a little more confident. Kind of from my end in this game, does George keep rolling with Bobby Tunyon here? I mean, until Gronk gets back, he's got to play somebody. So does he keep rolling with Robert Tunyon? Does he go with Donald Parham and just pray that he catches a touchdown? Does he go with Blake Jarwin and pray that he suddenly gets more involved like he has not been? Like, I just don't know. It's tough.
That is so tough. I mean, that's all touchdown. Literally all of them touchdown dependent because they're not target shares. So, I mean, whatever you think is best for scoring a touchdown, maybe you look at game script for all of them. But I don't know percent play breakdown of those three either. So probably Tunyon the highest. So
yeah, I think I would, at this point, I'm having more confidence in Tunyon than those other guys, only because we've seen it from him before. He had a good year last year. And so it's not like it's a shot in the dark where these guys really are coming out of nowhere. So I don't know. It's not a great choice in any means, but I think that's where I'm leaning.
Got to do it.
Mm-hmm. For me, Blake Jarwin's out of the question. It's Donald Parham or it's Robert Tunyon, and it's, do I think, Parham 1 target, 0 targets, 1 target, 3.
Right.
He's had touchdowns the last 2 weeks, so maybe Jordan's inclined to say, well, maybe I play him. But to that same point, to get so few targets and to score touchdowns means they're looking for you in the red zone. Mm-hmm. So that's at least something. I'm probably sticking Tunyon more so than anything because I think it's a crapshoot, and I guess may as well root for the Packer.
Some bias.
Whatever.
I don't have much more to say on that one. So
until Gronk gets back, it's going to be he's going to have those decisions every week that it's going to be just kind of a hope for the best. Hopefully I get 7-8 points out of him and call it good. So
and it should. I'm not hoping, but I think next week will be the Gronk week. He'll be back. It sounded like he was close for this week, but it was a Thursday night game. So with that, let's hop on.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid.
This here's Mike's. Will it happen?
Like this, I think I already know your answer for this one, but we already called it the game of the week. And my question to you is, will your matchup with Tony be the highest combined scoring affair this week?
It will happen.
That was Mike's. Will it happen?
Shut up, baby. You know what it is.
I know it, baby.
You guys already know what mine is.
Shut up, baby. I know it. Absolute guarantee.
All right, Jeff accidentally wrote his in the show doc, so we all know what it is. So, Jeff, why don't you give us yours first?
And for that, Mike's going to go first, and his is
I don't want yours.
Yeah, my absolute guarantee is, Odell's had a pretty bad year. He doesn't look like he's got that connection with Baker. And I don't know, for some reason this week he's going to turn it around. So Odell is going to score his first touchdown of the year this week.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
Jeff, you're just rolling with the heart today. It's what the heart tells you to do.
He's all heart. He's all
analytics,
heart.
Nothing.
Throw it out. Who needs it?
What does analytics mean? I don't know.
It's all heart game. Jeff, Nick, how about you?
My shut up, baby. I know it. Guarantee. We got the line for that Arizona-Cleveland game. Cleveland -3. I think Arizona wins that straight up.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
All right. My absolute guarantee is despite the fact that his team has only fallen below this mark one time all year, I think that it's pretty much a lock that bye weeks and injuries are going to beat up on Cooley this week, and Cooley will score less than 100 points.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Only one game under that, and he was at 96, so not by much. He's been pretty solid floor all year long, but I think this week it bites him. So,
Got him.
with that, good luck to everybody, unless you're playing one of us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Webster's Dictionary defines radish as a swollen, pungent tasting edible root, high in potassium, which can help lower blood pressure. Or more importantly, 3 guys spitting nonsense and talking about fantasy football. Add salt and pepper and chomp into another episode next time. See y'all later.
What's my deal?
Gross.
I don't know. Tasty.